Do? The whole situation is so confusing. Good plan. Impossible things don't just happen. We'll get to the truth one way or another.
Just relax. Even if everyone else suspects Lenny and Lynette, at least we will be supporting them from the stands. Besides, I doubt Farina understands any more about what happened than we do.
Thanks, Navia. Well?
Best of luck to you.
Ah, finally, you're back. Well, how did your investigation go?
To be honest, you might be disappointed.
No. We're already very grateful that you were...
Well now, don't you all look disappointed. Don't tell me that your investigation came up empty-handed. That was to be expected, of course. The guilty can never produce proof of their innocence, but don't let that stop you. I shall be terribly disappointed should you, my most anticipated foe, concede so easily.
Since both parties are present, I declare that the trial regarding the magic show incident is now in session. Firstly, in order for the audience to understand the causes and results of the incident, could we please have Mr. Linney explain the trick?
Yes, of course. I will explain while Lynette demonstrates on stage. All the necessary...
Thank you, Mr. Linney. In that case, I take your statement to be that you ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands once the trick began, and thus could not have committed the crime. Is this correct?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
In that case, I call upon the prosecution. Lady Farina, do you wish to refute his statement in any way?
Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Linney is clearly lying. There is no way you could have been in the box the whole time if you were to abduct Halsey and murder Cowell. In fact, I'd say you were hardly in that tunnel at all.
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption that I'm guilty.
Oh, is that so? And if I may ask, what did you hear while you were inside your box?
The roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time and built anticipation for the finale.
And you didn't hear anything else at all? Nothing that might leave an impression of any kind?
No, nothing.
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so, there was a thud. One so loud that I believe practically everyone heard it.
Huh?
Hey, hang on. Something's not right here.
Yeah, I'm sure he could have heard a noise that loud from inside the box.
I was right by the box and I definitely heard the thud.
Look at those scales. Could those mean...
Well then, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to use the words of the magician himself. You never know what can happen in the blink of an eye. Indeed, it seems his alibi can also collapse in the blink of an eye. Of course, I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my foundations are rock solid. Tell me, aren't you and Lynette actually from the House of the Hearth?
The House of the Hearth?
No wonder they did something like this.
So the serial disappearances were the Fatui's doing. Now it all makes sense.
I've got a feeling that what happened on stage probably wasn't just an accident.
That's irrelevant. Our identities have nothing to do with what happened.
Indeed. Then perhaps you could tell us everything that happened during that 1 minute. Your first priority is to prove yourself innocent after all. I'm sure there is little that needs to be kept secret now. Unless your script already has holes in it. The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now comes the infighting and discord, I suppose. Oh, good thing I made all those preparations. Seems the all-nighter I pulled last night is really paying off.
Hey, Linny, why didn't you tell us this before?
Order! Order! Mr. Linney, allow me to re-establish the facts. Lady Farina has raised 2 points. First, when the thud was heard in the Opera House, you were neither in the box nor the tunnel. Second, you and Ms. Lynette are both members of the House of the... Are these claims true? Please answer my question, Mr. Linney.
I'm sorry. Yes, they're true, Your Honor.
I knew it!
Well, that's it. We might as well move on.
What should we do now?
Granted. In that case, what is your request?
Is that really necessary?
The defendant deceived their own attorneys.
Order! Order, I say! Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn.
So you would stick to Mr. Linney's defense even after knowing what you do now? You certainly have more professionalism than I thought. In that case, my dear audience, let's allow the joy of victory to steep for a little while longer.
Well, this is awkward. I didn't think the Hydro Archon would dig all that up. I'm sorry, Traveler and Paimon.
Yeah, sorry.
Paimon just knew where to start. We trusted you two. We based our entire reasoning on the assumption not to set the wrong tone or anything, but Paimon's really mad!
I'm very sorry. I know you're angry. I know you've clashed with the Fatui several times before. I wouldn't be surprised if just hearing the word is enough to make you upset. But our organization is very, very large, and the Harbingers have very different personalities and goals.
Right now, we want to save people. As many as we can.
That's right. I'm sure we're on the same page when it comes to this nation and I knew if it weren't for our respective identities, we could become good friends. That's why I didn't wish to flat out lie to you, but chose to hide some details instead. The truth is very important, but being completely transparent about everything would see us right. So, you be the judge. You met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster by trade. All by coincidence, too. But still, I'm asking you to trust me. I am no criminal.
Sorry. Please forgive us.
Well, you both say that, but... Right. Let's hear your answer first, and no lies now!
Of course. I'll answer any. We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has a consciousness. Why can it deliver sentences accurately? During our investigations, we learned that the machine's core is beneath it. From that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap trick, with the objective—
Is that why you needed a whole minute?
That's right. In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from 60, while I would only need— So, after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement via the vent, and went to investigate the room in which—
That air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel.
Well, nothing. Which should have been impossible, of course. I was quite— That voice seemed to recognize me and tried to speak to me. I chose to err on the side of caution and retreated the way I came. On the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground, but the countdown was almost finished, so there— After that, the homicide—
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course. We must know all we can about this nation's secrets in order to deal with that prophesized crisis.
That's the only way we can save everyone.
So, there you have it. The whole truth. I swear, I didn't hide anything from you this time. It was never my wish to proceed under this cloud of mistrust either. But like I said earlier, you can be the judge. If you want to leave because you don't trust the Fatui—
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for giving us a chance.
The current problem is that the scales are tipped pretty badly. If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations, we're gonna need a seriously watertight defense. Huh?
Both parties have returned to their positions. Let us continue the trial. When last we left off, Mr. Linney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina may continue stating her reconstruction of the events.
That took long enough. Now then, if everyone would lend me their attention at this stage, let's revisit that scene from Linney's perspective. Countdown began, he entered the tunnel. When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into an altercation with Halsey, which caused the loud thud. He did not realize that this sound could be heard by everyone in the opera house, which is why he claimed earlier that he could not hear the sound. Finally, he used the vase to knock her out, before making her change clothes to prevent— At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, having heard that. So Linny proceeded to knock him out. Afterward, Linny passed the unconscious. And there you have it.
Does the defendant's side have any objection?
The key to refuting Lady Farina is the order of events. What Linny experienced and what he saw. Seems that... According to Linny, he left via the vent after entering the tunnel. He couldn't have had that altercation with Halsey. Linny went to the room that contains the Oratrice's core. Linny did not...
Attention! Ace Detective Paimon has something to say! When the countdown started, Linny did indeed go into the tunnel. But he immediately used a vent to access the Opera House basement, which is where the underground core of the Oratrice is stored. Once he reached that area, he heard a voice in what should have been an empty room. Since he felt something was amiss, he returned immediately. The crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again. And in order to complete the magic trick, he did not remain there for any length of time. Finally, he reached the surface, and that was when the accident happened from his point of view. Therefore, he's innocent. Paimon did it! Paimon actually managed to say all that! Oh, wasn't it awesome?
In other words, you believe that he knew nothing of the incident?
That's right!
My reasoning?
If that's the case, then if Cowell hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the entire setup meant to kill? Assuming that what you say is true, Linny only needed to kidnap the young girl to cause a new disappearance case. What would the point of killing someone on stage be?
Oh, they have a point.
That's right, you tell him!
And that's why they're partners of mine.
Oh, well, your denial is very strident, I'll give you that. But what proof do you have to back your claims? Of course I do. If he had been in the magic box the whole time, how could he have not heard that sound? Why do you ask? You're saying that he wasn't?
sure we don't need to give this more thought? Paimon thinks they're... Are you sure we don't need to give this... That's right! Linny wasn't in the box. This means that when the crime happened, Linny had already entered the... The same clue you used to disprove his alibi has now become the best proof! How do you like that?
Well played. To think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Linny who committed the crimes, then who was it?
Could there have been a third person involved? Is that really a possibility? Halsey is the missing person and an ordinary... The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment.
Huh? That can't be right. Are you serious? The killer was, in fact...
Oh, is that so?
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator to victim. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. No one entered or left the opera house through its entrances. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between... Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. So, there must have been some fear that she would attract attention. The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the It would have been tough for both people to fit. Linny was not in the tunnel at that... The deceased's name is Cowell. Linny was not in the tunnel... The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the... Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. No one entered or left the... Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. So, there must have been some... Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which... The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the... The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. It would have been tough for both people... Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal... No one entered or left the opera... The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the was not in the tunnel. It would have been tough for both people. Halsey's clothing was in the
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having trouble figuring things out?
I see how it is.
Look, since we're at a dead end, just like the trick as it transpired, the end result must have been utterly different from the magician's initial design.
If only we knew how Halsey disappeared.
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only has 3 exits, and none of them seem very likely. And it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real live person disappear.
Excuse my interruption, dear opponents, but do you not see...
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Lenny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. The deceased's name is Cowell, Lenny's assistant. He would have... The vase was not broken by chance. It would...
Paimon gets it! It all comes together. Lynette escaped from the water tank, vanishing gradually and leaving only clothes behind. If there's a similar method where a person could...
Oh, just a moment, please. I do hope you know how preposterous you sound at the moment. How could a person ever be transformed into water? Must we really? Magic tricks are ultimately just illusions and misdirection. But Halsey's disappear...
Even so, I trust the truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of reasoning may open it. Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention on him. But given that we aren't making much progress with the case, it wouldn't hurt to have a look at his belongings, would it?
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the end of their rope. The way I see it,
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, guards, please step into the lounge and examine the...
We are still examining the items, but we discovered several test tubes of fluid within Cowell's baggage, each labeled separately. The notebook in his backpack claims that these fluids are... water from the primordial sea.
The primordial sea?
The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs, and that the notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids, in which one of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese, along with the notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. As such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is, in fact, support.
You've got to be kidding! People do...
It's something so ridiculous.
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy.
If people can become water, does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water stains? Wait just a minute. Could that mean...
Mademoiselle, wait! What about your partner?
Let's go. Just...
Order! Order! It is undeniable that further examination of the Still, let us assume that these clues are indeed authentic. Guards, please continue examining the items along these lines. Mr. Linney, It appears your hypothesis is supported by the evidence.
Of course. Thank you, Your Honor. If we uphold this hypothesis, I believe that many of this case is seemingly unrelated.
Right! Like the metal hook! Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that water from the primordial sea.
Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire... I remember there was something else within the... Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant for another magic trick. The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's is... The rope that strung the water tank up was lit by the fireworks and cut. The water from the primordial sea should already have been prepped before Halsey entered the magic... I remember there was something... Lynette was in the magic box on... The water from the primordial sea should already have been prepped. The water from the primordial sea should... The water from the primordial sea should already have been prepped before Halsey entered the magic box. The rope that strung the The water from the primordial sea... Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire time. The deceased's name is Cowell. Now it seems like the hook rope was... I remember there was something else with... Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire time. Now it seems like the hook rope with... I remember there was something else within the inner... The rope that strung the water tank... I remember there was something else...
It's in the original plan. Cowell would tamper with the water tank rope, and the number select when the magic box containing Halsey was lowered. The metal hook would retract gradually and pierce the balloon at the top of the box. When the balloon attached to the box popped, the water afterward, Cowell would enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water, but he encountered something.
That actually...
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they sound convincing now. Have I falsely accused an innocent person?
Now, it seems like the only point of contention remains. His notes mentioned he had an accomplice who could be...
On that note, the guards have just contacted me. I shall now invite him on stage.
Thank you, Your Honor. We were just and we found an identical sample of the water.
What?
That can't be.
Does this not clear all my dear citizens? Linny did not need to take part in the dissolution of the young woman at all, having made modifications to that upon his ultimately, he not now as much. Am I right?
We've used up all the evidence we collected. Is this the end of the road?
Oh no! Paimon seems using the water as new evidence.
I think we've all seen enough. I believe this is indeed the finale. Now then, my good, no...
Excuse me, everyone, but
Miss, I must ask you not to...
Oh, come on. Don't be hasty. I have a good reason for it. I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young woman who is... What in the world?
No offense, miss, but miracle...
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic is all... But once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth to them once again? And wouldn't such a trick be the most marvelous finale to today's performance? Come on, Lenny and Lynette. Give it. But as the magic makers and stars of the show,
I understand.
And voila.
Sorry for the interruption.
Wait, isn't that Halsey?
To be clear, I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, the merit of doing so. I was hiding outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me.
that'll teach you to.
Where should I begin? I'm sorry. I'm the one who killed Cowl. I admit it.
But what? Why?
Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. It's Lillian, and I'm originally from Mondstadt. I heard that Linny's show was gonna be a real thriller, but I missed the chance to buy a ticket, so I stole one. That's how I make a living. I steal stuff here and there. And I'd never been caught before. But I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago, and I barely got away. Lenny was the one who caught me in the act.
Hey! No wonder you look familiar. Liddy even mentioned that you were pretty.
Well, and I thought that would have been the end of it, but then the number selector chose. He even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So I played along with the show while looking for an opening to flee. I wasn't going to take that lying down, so I knocked him out and stuffed him into the box. There was nowhere to run from there, though, so I had to change my clothes and hide in a box containing performance. I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene.
Can a person even hide in there?
But I swear, I didn't know that the water tank would fall down. Had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the magic box.
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now.
This time, we need to tell the entire story. The strange sound wasn't from a... The flower vase was not broken to cover... Lillian was afraid that she would be recognized if she...
And it's instant! Having been selected out of the blue, Lillian panicked. Her panic only intensified after she entered the tunnel and had water poured on her head. Hearing the commotion, Cowl leapt into the tunnel. He did not know that Lillian was not from Fontaine, but mistakenly believing that the water from the primordial. The two broke the flower vase during the struggle. With no way of escaping, she changed her cloak. That she would have to go through guard inspection if she tried to leave afterward. So
she had already become desperately hungry by the time we were chatting over macarons.
At this point, all the events that happened...
so rather...
Now then, Lady Farina.
I...
Please answer the question, Lady Farina.
What? Are you reading my mind now? No. I have no further argument.
Wow! Look at that!
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of the actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowl, selected his next victim from the audience reservation list. With some modifications to the selector, he could ensure that the to cover up any evidence while committing the deed, Cowell thought of allowing the water tank to fall, which would conceal the water left behind. He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to drop and hot. He poured the water from the primordial sea into a balloon during the preparation. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door when the magic trick officially began. The box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel, tightening. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved. Realizing that there was trouble, Cowell entered the tunnel and met Liliane. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious, Liliane according to her own statements. As for Linny, he was in the underground structures within the Opera House. From this reconstruction of events, we can conclude... While there is much in Linny and Liliane's conduct that should... This case, at least, can be handed over to the Oratrice to make the final decision. As such, Linny and Lynette are officially declared not guilty.
Great work, partners.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Next, I think How did you find the water from the...
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you know.
I suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's notes was not Linny, but you, yes? I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen your sentence.
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself a one-way ticket to Coupon Town.
I was just following orders. We were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Linny, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the Fatui. The higher-ups said this was the best opportunity to do so.
And now that your plan has fallen through, and the secrets of the water have been revealed, you have become a liability to said higher-ups, yes? Therefore, you would be wise to tell everything you know and seek the protection of the guards.
Yes, I'll tell you everything I know. Our boss discovered that the water can cause people to dissolve. It can also be made into a potion, which when extremely diluted, can cause people to experience unforgettable exhilaration. We've been in this business for a while now, and have made decent mora off it. The disappearances were also the boss's idea. I mean, this is the boss we're talking about.
And now he can no longer talk.
Such ruthlessness.
An outrageous act. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
So, we're just going back now? That's true, but...
Traveler, Paimon, please wait.
Linny...
I know you may not want to speak to me right now. Maybe you don't even want to look at me, but still. Let me thank you again for defending me to the end, I guess. But regardless, I'd like the opportunity. I didn't approach you with any ulterior motives or ill intent. As for why I'm a Fatus, it's because the goals of the House of the Hearth align with those of an orphan like me. That was how Father, who you might know as the Knave, approached—
The Knave? The one who could—
That's right. And since we're here, back when our parents first died, Lynette and I were left wandering the streets. To survive, I took to surreptitiously observing an older street performer who did magic. I took my sister through several streets until to my surprise, we proved to be pretty popular. And we could at least stop worrying about where our next meal would come. Before long, an aristocrat came to me and claimed that he—
So you went from orphans—
That was how we felt at first, too. But I gradually discovered that while we were called foster children, he would constantly take me to all sorts of banquets to garner—
That doesn't seem too bad either.
It After one particular performance at a banquet, I waited a long time after we returned home, but the answer he gave me was, she caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet, so I sent her over as a gift. I mean, you'll be able to...
Oh no. But wouldn't Fontaine...
As far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship I managed to ferret out the location of the mansion of that all I saw was the moonlit ground covered in blood. And the nave.
So, she'd already taken care of that guy.
That's right. She had rescued my sister before she could come to... Father, I mean, the knave, might have... The House of the Hearth welcomes you. For your interest, I was hesitant to trust her. I mean, I had just been betrayed by nobles. But she was also quick to destroy the noble who had taken us in at first, giving us back our freedom.
Oh, so that's how the two of you joined the House of the Hearth.
She has her own plans. She has gained permission from the Tsaritsa to first use the Gnosis' power when she obtains it.
So, she believes in that prophecy too?
That's right. The whole House of the Hearth is currently working to combat. Today's case has also proven that people from Fontaine can indeed dissolve everyone at Hotel Bouffe d'été, including the knave, to us orphans. The only connection we have...
So, from small deeds like distributing magic...
It's all right. I understand. I just hope you can understand that even as a member of the house, if you should need anything at all in the future.
Bye, Linny!
Hey there. What was with the disappearing act you pulled right as the trial ended?
Were you looking for us, Navia?
Well, this whole thing isn't exactly over, is it? I do feel that we're getting closer to solving the serial disappearances case, though. Huh? What's wrong, my dear partner?
Besides, are you sure we're the ones who... And given that there's new evidence from the trial, there should be a trail of breadcrumbs for...
Ah, I see. Well, sorry.
Don't say that, Navia.
Aw, and we were having so much fun investigating with you, too. It was like having new waters flowing into a stagnant mire. Well, sorry about that. Wait, shall we have a farewell meal?
Huh?
Well, anyway, it would just be a meal, so it shouldn't...
You don't have to...
Oh, wonderful.
All right, then.
came here several times with my father when I was little. But
oh, don't worry.
Oh, in that case...
Ooh, everything looks so good.
Why, of course. Go ahead, try whatever you like. If the food's...
And if it's...
Well,
Yeah. Oh, we called this a farewell meal, but we...
Oh, true.
Speaking of cases...
Well, we've certainly taken a big step forward, but I feel...
If it hadn't happened right in front of us...
Right? Yet it... In such investigations, even the smallest, to be honest, I don't have high hopes for any follow-up that the authorities might conduct. It's not that I don't... It's easy to guard, which is exactly why the Spina do those highfalutin... It's all... Let's talk about something else. Like, what are your future plans?
That's true. We didn't...
I've heard that there's a long line of...
Yeah. Guess that's Spina...
Well, one way would be to infiltrate a performance troupe at the Opera House, only to abandon your act at the play's climax and ask to speak to her after the performance. I'm sure Lady for... All right, I can personally testify that this one works. When I'm valid point. You did defeat her in court, clearing citizens of...
You mean that if we catch her while she's on a break, she might be too embarrassed? Why don't we give it a try after...
Huh?
Was...
No, it's fine.
All right. Honestly, Paimon wouldn't recommend Fontaine.
Is that so? If we're all finished eating...
Yeah. Oh, so full. Paimon can barely float anymore. Nah, that would be so... Hey, Navia, what did...
Oh, nothing. It was just a meal, you know?
What?
So this is goodbye, huh? Well, if you do encounter any other trouble in any case...
See ya! People around anymore. Looks like that book...
Vache.
Looks like we're back here again. Huh? Traveler?
Vache? Vache.
Hey, why are you still walking toward... Huh? Hang on. Hey, Traveler? Stop walking! Come on, wake up!
Vache, are you... my dear Vache? No, wait. You seem to be someone else. Wait. Who am I? I'm very sorry, My memories feel like they have been washed away like a flood. So many fragments. How much have I lost? How many things that I once held dear while on— Yes, that is what I was once. I do not know how I came to be like this either. I also remember going to many places. No matter where I went, Vache would go with me. But now, we can— No! Our reunion no longer has any meaning. The thought of me gives him no succor. If you meet Vache, tell him perhaps that is so, as I was submerged in the waters. If only I could have comforted him. Is that what you call it? It was a state of neither fear nor frenzy. I could also liken it to being a thirsty person who drinks water for the first time. And only then, I think I hear your companion. It's farewell then.
Demoiselle, look out!
Dear God, it's a whole army of Gardamex. Chlorand?
Quick, now's our chance!
I should thank you for lending us your sword there, Chlorand. But before I do so, could you explain how you managed to show up here?
I followed you.
I believe that following someone without—
Mr. Callus's last wish was for me to ensure your safety.
Do not speak up!
Sorry, Demoiselle.
Thank you for your aid, Miss Cora.
Sorry,
Whatever. What else do you—
I doubt I know much more than you. Your performance tonight will almost certainly—
I'm sure they've— And what about these Gardamex? I thought only those associated with the Maison Gard—
None of these mecha have serial numbers. I was sure to check them out. I can only conclude that some powerful or wealthy party must have obtained them via illegal means.
What? Your point being that they're out of Spina di Rosula's league, then?
Yes. Be careful, and—
I will continue investigating, no matter— Regardless,
I do not think that they'll strike—
Right. I suppose that's the best news we've got—
Demoiselle, I believe that Miss Clorand was—
I know, I just— She's—
Oh, thank goodness! Paimon thought we were done for— Those Gardamex came out of nowhere while you were up— Oh, and there was that champion duelist named Chlorand who came out to save us too!
Oh, come now. Forget all that polite talk. As such, we're still—
It will take 50...
If it were me,
All right.
Actually, Navia, how did you know that we were in danger?
Well, to be honest, you're the one who tipped us off,
Huh? Really?
Yes. All thanks to— After we parted ways, I was on the way back to— That the Fanta tasted kind of salty and icky. Fanta only comes in sweet flavors. So how—
So the Fanta had been spiked with—
Yes. So, if you—
Spina di Rosula is preparing the crap.
Huh? Really?
sent people to Hotel de Boer to investigate. That's when I figured out that you might be in danger.
But why would they go after us?
Well, you did foil a plan that they were... Speaking of which, did anything...
Well, it can't be Oh, and this time Paimon heard it too! Does that mean the primordial seawater raises...
That doesn't sound like too much of a bad thing.
New intel? What?
Well, let's hear it, shall we? Oh. Vache. Since he saw that young woman dissolve, but he never gave testimony or any information regarding... Yes, thank you. This is... Oh, you mean...
Well, you did say... And besides, we're in this now whether we like it or not.
Demoiselle, do try not to look quite...
You talk too much. Well, in that case, we also have some plans to go over.
Don't worry, you two. With us around...
Ad Astra... Ad Astra... It's right up ahead, but...
I've been keeping watch, Demoiselle. I haven't spotted anyone...
Very good.
I shall find rooms for...
Thank you, Malus. Now, let's
This is
Your accommodations have been arranged.
Well, after all, we don't allow illegal or unethical profiteering.
Seems like it's tough times for everyone.
To be honest,
Your father...
Demoiselle, if you'll allow me...
No. My father's name is Callus. 3 years ago, he was accused of murdering his own friend. But he...
Oh no.
but I do at the time. But strangely, that even after being serious... how could he protect his honor if he's dead? The closest piece of info I have.
Ah, so...
That's right. However, I must know what really happened. If only he'd been more open with me when he was still alive. He even hid the... and now, here I am...
Demoiselle.
I also will never believe that Master Callus murdered anyone. Master Callus did so. Even our supporters decreased greatly due to...
Wait! If Callus was such a good...
no. Perhaps people just rev... People love watching the evil...
But how could...
There is one...
Oh. Her? Yeah. That's not the...
Miss Cloran. She knew Master Callus before. There was...
It's not...
Don't worry, Navia.
Afterward, Miss Cloran told us that at the start... Yes, that is our...
Oh, Pop. All right. Anyway, that's the information. Thanks.
Yeah.
Please, relax and get some sleep. Whether it be responsibility, this won't do.
I sent them back to Poisson. It's Spina de Rosula's place of origin.
Paimon gets the feeling that, but never...
No, I just returned after going out for a while.
Wait.
Unfortunately, this name seems to have been wiped from I suspect that this... No. And that is the archives kept by... If the... Oh,
so Nervalet... In that case...
No, it... The palais is right up ahead. Come on.
Please state your business here. The chief just...
This place... Hey, don't you recognize us?
Huh? Who are you? Just to be clear, I don't care who you...
See? They've got
Yep. Paimon can tell... If you're here just to crack jokes,
No. What I meant to say...
Oh, yes, I remember.
We're here today to report an... Of course.
All right then, I'll let you through. The chief...
Thanks.
Please come in.
Sorry to barge in, monsieur.
It's all right.
We're looking for a man.
Ah, I see.
Who knew that Nervalet would be so easy to talk to?
Unfortunately, I'm quite certain that no one by the... There are no records of him either in the file...
Traveler?
Is that so?
Ahem. Miss Navia, I can understand how you feel. Your father, Callus...
And what? Are you trying to console me? No. You are not trying to do any of that. I can hear it in your voice. It's just like last time. After my father, you even told me then that you thought there was something fishy with the case. In your eyes, the value of a human life, if you truly regret my father's death, then why didn't you give me the power to stop him from throwing his life away? Everything was hanging on a thread. There are still so many. If you really have no heart, then just look me in the eyes.
I'm sorry, Miss...
You and my father are truly... It's not so much that you can't... Oh well. And my apologies for taking my emotions out on you, Monsieur Chief Justice. Let's go, Traveler and Paimon.
Navia, are you okay?
I'm fine.
You're right. Wasn't it...
Now that I think of it, on the day...
What is it? Did you think of something?
Yeah, he was outside. It was uncovered and the rain could fall. That thought has occurred to us before. We've even expanded the search area to try to account for that. But didn't find anything of value. Oh? Wait.
So you're saying that the true murderer... Yeah! And if that's what...
I really think I found... All right, let's go to Poisson.
Yeah! We're gonna make progress!
Do you want to go with me now? Or... All right, then I'll wait...
Ad Astra. Thank you for
There's no need to be so surprised. My father was the one who had a gigantic and glamorous ship embodies discovery, opportunity, ambition, and conquest. It symbolizes Spina di Rosula's bright and
And Paimon thought you were bluffing when you said Paimon was confused why a group was. But now that Paimon has seen this ship for herself?
Well, Poisson is where Spina... Melus, we're back!
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle. You said before that you still had some business at the court.
About that. It's because my partner here... You still remember, right, Melus?
Yes, the case was quite similar.
Could you tell us a bit more?
Yeah, of course. Many years ago, at a glance, it was a...
Wait!
Yes, he did. If you drink synth, and if you were to stop drinking it, as he oversaw with...
Boss's uncompromised... Not only that...
Yes. Recognizing that the man's name was that night, but then...
Huh?
Sounds just like Lenny. Looking back on it, though... Precisely. But, considering it now, you're right.
Jacques was an empathetic... I think this... On that note, however... Our opponent, even though Spina... There is no need...
If that's indeed what he wished for, was I not the closest person to him? What was the point of him dying without sharing any of the secrets he knew? Synth is still here. Callus the Unfaithful, did he think I've never accepted that. I want to find...
Davia.
This is indeed...
So you do know something else, Melus?
Yes, I do. But what drove...
What?
And the serial 5 years knowing all of this. But as long as... If something were to happen...
Right. So nobody...
As we've seen, boss...
No. I don't believe it. He never appeared...
No father wants their daughter to see them weak and haggard. Especially someone as proud as boss. To him, dying in a duel and suffering lasting dishonor as the...
So he chose...
I'm afraid you're not understanding that. If boss's spirit, I'm sure...
No. Is that the amount of confidence he had in me? And what if I was never able to make it to where I... Yeah. I suppose that, but thankfully, he rarely talked to me about complex matters, and thus understood little of me as a person. Melus, what was the key
It's the locate when he was threatened. But if you want to...
Why? If we...
You mustn't forget that we're fighting against... There's no telling, but the worst case...
Then, in that...
Well, you saw...
But things are...
You sound like you've put a lot of thought...
I am the butler. I've always been willing to take on any kind of risk.
Thank you for all of that, Melus.
Let me think. When I announced if the vendors, after several... The first?
Huh?
Yes, thanks to his... There's someone else like him, too. Marcel.
Uncle Marcel.
It's a guild in the beginning.
So, there...
Yes, it's a bit...
The final suspect is Thierry, the man responsible for coordinating information. Although the guards, since Thierry...
I see. To think that the...
If you want to...
Of course.
You're too kind. And before I forget, proving boss after that incident, if it might help...
Aw, thank you so...
A new case awaits, my dear partner. I hope we can work...